Well, we're really having a night of technical difficulties. I just was watching the video to see if there was any comments, and it cut off at the 3-minute mark, and I talked for another at least 3 or 4 minutes. So we're going to try to finish up. I was on the scouting subject and how my kids would always learned how to cook in scouting, and I was a Girl Scout troop leader and a Boy Scout assistant scoutmaster, so I did a lot of camping with groups of kids and teaching them how to cook. And I think we also did a lot of family camping. That was great. One of my favorite things was always to do the centerpiece. I like to go out into the woods and get a few branches and some pretty leaves and flowers and put it all together and make something for the table. And so I still like to do that. I like to make things pretty with the outside world. I was watching Sandra's video earlier tonight, and she was talking about how much she loves to eat outside, and I do too. I like to sit outside at the picnic table and enjoy a meal with my friends or my family. So, where else? Let's see. Okay, so that was my first family. When my youngest son was 18, I got remarried, and I had another daughter, and there are they now. And they and their dad are both terrible cooks. Their dad convinced me over 10 years of burning things that he didn't know how to cook. And he's probably laughing as he watches this, but you know it's true, Sean. And so I did most of the cooking and probably most of the cleaning as well during that time period. Now I am a single mom. I've been a single mom for about 10 years, 12 years. And my 18-year-old has moved back in with me. So now it's more like having a bad roommate. They don't really like to clean up their messes. And so often I cook things that they won't like because, well, they didn't clean their dishes from the day before, so I'm not going to cook for them. They also are vegan, gluten-free, and neither of us eat any nightshades, so the menu is a little more challenging than it was previously. I do a couple times a week make a nice vegan dinner and make it gluten-free so that we can both enjoy it. And usually we enjoy sitting down and watching TV because neither one of us have really time for TV. So we'll sit down and watch a half an hour, 45 minutes of TV and eat dinner and talk and hang out for a little bit. And then they go back to their computer and I go back to my business work and my computer, and the dishes don't seem to get done. So I probably have the messiest kitchen now in my life than I've ever had, except when they go away for a week, and then the kitchen is spotless for a week. So I know it's not me. I know exactly who it is, and they do too if they're watching this video. I think my favorite way to have dinner, share dinner, is to invite people over and do potlucks. I don't like to cook for 4 days, getting ready for something and have it all be done in half an hour, and I've done it all. It's just not any fun to me anymore. I've done that many, many times, but it's not any fun. So I kind of like having get-togethers and having everybody bring something, and nobody has to do that much work, and we all get to enjoy it. I know there's a great movement, the slow eating movement, and people literally take 2 or 3 hours to eat a meal, and I think that's great. I think that's very much like my family dinners were when I was growing up, except for that when I was growing up, it was only the women that cooked. And as soon as it was over, the men went and sat down in the living room, and the women cleaned up. So I'm glad to say that we've come a far, far distance from that, at least in my family. And usually, about half the time, if I'm up in Atlanta in Georgia with my parents and my sister, we get to go out to eat as well because, well, there's just a lot more choices now than there used to be when I was a kid. All right, well, I'm sorry this cut off, and I hope you enjoyed part 2, and I will see you tomorrow.